And now we get to the ending scene of the first episode, which is the best part, for obvious reasons. Omni-Man secretly sends all the Guardians of the Globe to their headquarters, and as they all meet there, wondering about who sent them, Omni-Man just charges in and starts brutally ripping them apart one by one.
Omni-Man?
This scene works incredibly well. The complete lack of music after Red Rush's death, the visceral, fleshy, and bloody sounds of the fighting is super effective. The sound design in this scene really shines. Plus, the gory imagery and the fight choreography is just awesome. The way the gore is incorporated into the different abilities of the Guardians is very clever. I really like the fact how they try everything in their power to stop Omni-Man, and he does struggle with them a fair bit, because they work together as a team. But in the end, it simply wasn't enough to save them. I was shocked when I saw that. And before watching the show, I obviously knew that it was R-rated and how gory it was, but I gotta say, this first episode really tricked me into thinking that this would be a very generic superhero show, but with gore. Which isn't entirely wrong, honestly, and I'll get to why later, but all the choices in terms of presentation in this final fight sequence are just excellent, and it totally changed my attitude towards the show going forward. Oh, and that hard cut to black after Omni-Man falls unconscious, surrounded by all the blood, intestines, and corpses of the Guardians, is just so damn cool. I am a true sucker for a well done cut to black, and this is a great example of how to do it right. And as the credits were rolling, I had so many questions about what was happening. This is an excellent way of creating suspense within the viewer, and I'm sure it worked for so many people. Man, talk about subverting the audience's expectations. Everything in this last sequence is pretty fantastic, honestly. It might be my favorite scene in the entire show, actually. And even though it only lasts for about 4 minutes, it makes this episode so much better. Everything concerning Nolan and Mark in this episode is pretty excellent. The emotional stakes are through the roof, and Mark's pain and shock over seeing his dad for what he really is was very impactful. This whole moment gave me very strong Ego vibes from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, only that, compared to that one, the relationship between father and son is much stronger between Nolan and Mark. This whole episode is extremely brutal and gory, and downright apocalyptic. Like the moment in the city and in the subway, the mental torture Mark goes through in this entire fight is pretty insane. The only small issue I have with this is that he should have acted a bit more paralyzed and traumatized during and also after the fight. Mark's hopeless effort to save the people around him, while Nolan is causing a complete apocalypse, is very tragic to watch. I cannot imagine how Debbie feels while witnessing all of this. She must be in so much emotional agony. I really felt for her the entire episode. Another thing to point out are the very short moments of doubt and hesitation in Nolan's demeanor. It does a pretty good job at showing the weaker, more compassionate father side of him, which is weak, but still present within him. My personal favorite moment of the entire episode is right before the end of the fight. Nolan is beating him to a pulp, blood all over both of them. And as he's punching him again and again, it cuts to a flashback of Mark playing baseball with Debbie and Nolan watching him. First of all, the transition is very well done. And this flashback is the strongest representation of Nolan's warm and loving side. The match cut from young Mark's smiling face in the flashback to his totally destroyed and beat up face in the present is also great. And as Nolan is screaming at Mark, saying, "Everyone and everything you know will be gone. What will you have after 500 years? And then, with tears in his eyes, Mark answers, "You, Dad. I'd still have you." And hearing that, Nolan stands up, realizing what he has just done to his son, that still loves him with everything he has. And as he flies into space, we see him cry. This is the single best moment in the entire season. Lots of emotional and heart-wrenching stuff. And the stylistic execution is also excellent. There are a few things that aren't that great, but the overall impact of this entire scene between Mark and his father, it just works.